Interplay of force. If you have, we talk about 10 units of strength, and I have 10 units of strength, and if you do something and I oppose you directly, then it's going to be about an even stalemate. If you're stronger than I am and maybe 20 units of strength to my 10, you're going to overwhelm me if I fight you directly. If on the other hand I help you, I add my 10 units to your strength of 20, then I will always be able to do what I want, provided I don't fight you. So I'm always stronger than anyone who attacks me if I know how to apply my strength with theirs. When they push, I don't push back. Maybe I pull or I pivot in a way, just like the door opening on a hinge. I never resist directly. If they pull, then I move in. If they push, I should pivot. That's maybe a big problem. We come to conflicts in life and we don't want to give. Something's pushing ahead of us, and even if we're right, you're driving down the street and there's a truck coming at you. You have the right of way, but it's a truck. Do you stay there because you're right and get killed, or do you pull over and let them go by? We don't like to pull over. In that sense, we think that if we're right, then we should have the strength to overcome everything. But some things, by being right, isn't always the correct way of doing things.
Okay, Jim Simon. From chest grasp technique.
The stay, the doer, their job is to be more in balance, to become like a mountain, unchanging, unmovable. The hips over the knees or shoulders over the hips, the back straight, the balance very strong.
Take down. Step forward, side.
The uke, the receiver of technique, being involved in this situation is the complete opposite. They become less in balance, more unformed. And as the focus of the shite increases, the defocusing of uke increases. We all want to be shite. We want to be the powerful one, the one in control. We want to be healthy and popular and strong and rich and loved. But life isn't always like that. Life is also the uke side. And it's this side that we need the most practice in. We're pretty good at accepting things when they go our way. We're not so good at accepting or making harmony with the situation when it doesn't. In our art, the idea of receiving is actually a much more intense study because it's something we're not too familiar with. How can I, in reality, take a situation that looks like loss and take some benefit out of it? I mean, that's really what's happening with the study of Aikido.
Once upon a time there lived in Japan a great martial arts master. No one could beat him. At the peak of his career, he abandoned everything and moved to the mountains to be a farmer and to figure out why success, power, and fame had not brought fulfillment. In the spring of 1925, while walking in the garden by himself, he felt that the universe suddenly quaked and that a golden spirit sprang up from the ground and covered his body. His mind and body became light. He understood the whispering of the birds and was clearly aware of the mind of God, the creator of this universe. At that moment, he realized that the source of the warrior's way is God's love, the spirit of loving protection for all beings. Endless tears of joy streamed down his cheeks.
One of the quotes of the founder, O-sensei or Morihei Ueshiba, is, "True Buddha is love." And this was an astounding thing for the martial arts world, for a great martial artist, and quite respected as he was, to say such a thing. Love. Most martial arts are seen as violence, more hate than love. If I have a loving reconciliation with all things, I'm not quick to fight, but to make harmony, to make peace. As an Aikidoka or someone who studies Aikido, my job is to make peace and happiness in my own life and in all around me. He took a very physical art that was quite effective as a martial combat and combined with it elements of philosophy of mind and spirit that have made this art Aikido very useful and practical for daily living today. he has made a very powerful impact on the world. There are hundreds of thousands, maybe millions of Aikido practitioners following his concept and methods of what Aikido is about. He was followed in his lifetime almost like a god because he could do things that seemed superhuman. His ability to look at someone and know all kinds of things about them, about their history and background, health, and other things that we may not think we could see if we looked at them. Physical things, being able to hold 2 or 3 people down with his thumb or with a finger, and 5 and 6 people attacking at once, and so effortlessly moving out of the circle of their attack and getting behind them and having them fall into each other, kind of look like Keystone Cop kind of stuff. Not many people have been able to duplicate it, although lots of people attempt it and try. He has been kind of a special guiding image that we're all trying to work towards. But he did claim throughout all his time, his teaching, that this is something that we can all achieve. If we focus on his abilities, it's the wrong concept. Doing the things he did came as a byproduct of his level, his application of a general principle of method for living, this idea of being the center, egocentric in your universe, of enjoying being who you are and going outwards from there. The symbol of Aikido is, in its movements, is open the fingers, where most martial arts are closed-fisted and containing, pulling the energy inwards. Aikido's always open, relaxed, hands out, never tense in doing and applying techniques. The image there is, I'm the center, I'm the power of my universe, and it's going outwards from me. I am the center. And he claimed this all the time to his students. You can do what I can do, and more. You are always greater than you believe. Don't set such small parameters for your existence, all these limits and boundaries. Break them down, expand out, open up. Believe you can do more, and you will. A very strong motivator in that way. And there actually have been a number of students that have done also very miraculous things, and all of us in our own lives do, on occasion, incredible things. And we may attribute it to, adrenaline, or possibly a fluke, a luck. But in Aikido, we're a little more practical than that it was something that, some situation, some environmental concern or whatever that caused you to focus, to align the elements of self, the mind, the body, the emotions, the spirit, all down to one fine point, kind of like a magnifying glass. It takes light that normally when it's on your skin is nothing in particular. It takes the sunlight, and maybe on a cold winter day, it's kind of cool. But take the magnifying glass and focus all that light down to one little point that'll burn through your hand. Same kind of idea. He says, focus and align. Attention. Put your energies to one point. Incorporate, blend in, fit to your situation, and use your life energy like that, and you become like that magnifying glass, or like a laser. Burn through anything. And it's this method that we try to teach in Aikido. I saw my first Aikido demonstration when I was 18. At that time, I had already studied other martial arts. I was a first-degree black belt in karate. I've had some kung fu training, a few years of judo. I'd actually been doing martial arts for about 8 years by that time. And when I saw this demonstration of Aikido, I saw the lower rank students doing things first, and it was pretty much unimpressive, and it looked somewhat staged, and some parts didn't seem very realistic. More importantly, it looked like there wasn't real control there, and I was very much at 18 into the idea of strength, and that idea that I'm going to be able to crush someone and pound someone, and maybe the classic idea for martial arts. I would watch someone do a throw or a pin or some kind of control, and there always seemed to be an element where the uke, the receiver, was going along with the shite at some time throughout the technique. And the shite, the doer, although they may look strong, the uke receiver, since they were falling, didn't look like it was real. It looked very phony. The difficulty with this is that Aikido isn't done like, say, karate can be, with pads to protect you. Aikido is done full out. The best Aikido is done for real all the time, because it's practical application of a concept that you need to learn for daily life. So we don't want to pretend or fake. We do it for real. The difficulty is the uke, the receiver, if they were to resist and fight back, what would happen is, if the technique was correct, focused and strong, their wrist would break, their arm would break. Like the Steven Seagal movies, the uke, the receiver of technique, would be damaged or injured, possibly even very seriously injured. How can we practice for real like this all the time? Well, there has to be an element of fitting in by the uke once the technique begins. So the idea for our study is the uke attacks for real. Real grab, real punch, real kick, chop, use of a weapon. And the shite, once the technique is beginning to be applied by the shite, is controlling the uke realizes the control is there. And resistance at this point would be futile, would be dangerous, possibly damaging. So they move with them. For example, a large throw in Aikido. They move, do a throw, and the uke flies through the air, rolls, and stands up. Well, the uke is fine. No broken bones, no damage. They've done a roll, a break, fall, and they stood up and they're okay. In a real martial arts situation, they wouldn't make such a nice big fly through the air. They'd probably land in a heap just a foot or two from the person doing the technique, or maybe a little farther, depending on the force of the movement. But it wouldn't look nice and neat. It would be a mess. And the person receiving the technique, if it was done correctly, would be a mess. So to actually practice such a thing, there has to be an element of working together. When I used to do this in my own demonstrations, people would come and say, well, oh, I could just do a two-handed combination punch and something, and often I would say, well, okay. Then I would, of course, do the best I could to lead them, so they didn't attack any way they wanted, but actually in a way that I was beginning to control right from the start. And as they began the technique, I would apply it. Of course, they'd resist, and I'd hurt them. They didn't like me now. They're angry at me. Sometimes, unfortunately, I did more than just cause a little pain, a little more damage, pulled ligaments, and that made them even more angry. Now they didn't like not only me, but they didn't like my art, the people I'm involved with, Aikido. Not good at all. And I'm trying to teach them about Aikido as peace and control and harmony, and all of a sudden I brutalize someone. Not the best kind of demonstration or example, but they did all of a sudden believe that Aikido worked. So I'm trying to find a balance in demonstrations to show that Aikido is a real art. And indeed, if you demonstrate to someone that there has to be an element of control throughout everything that you do, so that you don't injure or damage them, even if they're resisting. That takes a great skill. One of the people that can do that in a most amazing way is the head of our style, Shioda Gozo Kancho, or head of the house. His name, Kancho, is the Japanese title. But Shioda Sensei, or Shioda teacher, maybe a more common way to refer to him. I've been his uke, or receiver of technique, a number of times in Japan, and he's most amazing. He has been able to perfect his own personal level of this art, to apply a technique without any pain whatsoever. And all the times he's done techniques to me, there's no anguish or pain or discomfort at all. In fact, you end up usually laughing, because you have no control, no ability to stop what he's doing, lose balance and stumble and flop around. He's quite small too, 5'1", 105 pounds. I'm 6'3", 200 pounds. And he moves me around like I'm made of paper. And my feeling is this is impossible. It just can't be happening. It doesn't even hurt. yet I'm completely out of balance, completely unable to prevent what he's doing. He has complete control over me. And he too usually laughs when he's doing it, always smiling. And me also, and the audience as well, laughing and smiling, and indeed that somehow seems fake. Everybody's laughing here, something doesn't seem right. Yet his control is complete and absolute when he does it to me, and to most others I've ever seen him do it to. Your life should be nothing but attack. Attack is active. The concept of attack is often thought to be a negative idea. It means I am somehow violating you. That's not the element of attack that I mean in Aikido. Attack means focus. It usually implies some kind of passion. When someone attacks someone, they have great passion. They're using that spiritual side that most of us don't use much at all. They're flexing those muscles, those spiritual muscles. And in an attack, you align many aspects of your existence that you normally don't do. This is that focus I spoke about. There's a physical focus, a mental focus, and an emotional focus. In attack, all those are there. You've got this emotional drive that's making you go. You have a focus of who it is or what it is you're attacking. And then there's the physical aspect of attack. And I don't mean the violence of the attack is important, that you need to go and physically attack a person, but you need to live your life like you're attacking. It's that focused intensity of doing something. And the method of Aikido is to be like that. It's not reactive. Most of us are just stimulus, response, react. Wait until something happens, then react. And then blame what happened for my displeasure, not me not getting what I want. The idea of Aikido is, of course you're going to be unhappy like that. You're allowing the rest of your life to be controlled, or your existence now to be controlled by the rest of the things around you. You're not acting like the center of your universe. You're giving that responsibility to other people and other things. No, you must take charge. You must act, not react. You must go forward with a unified concept of self, mind, body, spirit. Do what needs to be done. When you see a situation that needs your attention, don't wait until it gets out of hand. Go and do something about it now. In the popular movie series Star Wars and the sequels after it, I've done some background information on George Lucas, and he used for his sword fighting sequences the study of Kendo. Aikido has also sword movements in it that have some very similar elements to Kendo. But the philosophy that he uses all throughout the movie, what he calls the Force, is the same element. It is ki. It is the element of power within all things. And the study of focusing it is something that Luke Skywalker is trying to do, and the Jedi Knights are able to do. A bit of a fairy tale idea, but it's based on a very factual situation. This is an element that is missing in so many people's lives, something that Aikido can do to assist everyone, regardless of age, size, weight, sex, race, creed, color, anything. Everyone needs more focus in their life. They can use it.
For them, it's fine. You must have a strong spirit to allow them to live their life. The philosophy of Aikido is to make a choice. Do you wish to be right? Or do you wish to be happy? Our focus is internal peace.
I first got involved in Aikido approximately 3.5 years ago with my son. We were looking for something to do together, to spend some time together.
Body thrust, all direction pin, number 2 advanced. Yo.
Well, we had seen Aikido at a mall, a demonstration before, so at least we knew what Aikido was about. It was such a warm feeling walking into the building. Everybody was so helpful, so nice. I went through, I think, 3 classes. And by the time I hit my 3rd class, I realized that this is something that I've wanted to do for a long time and just didn't have a name to put to it. So about the 3rd class into Aikido is where I realized that the philosophy that was there and the type of people that were there, it was something that I wanted to do, and I've been doing it for 3.5 years.
Boy, quiet. Let's try this once again.
I want a copy of that.
Well, that's good.
If you're attacked in a martial art like karate or taekwondo, the thought pattern is if someone's going to kick me, I'm going to block that kick. I'm going to take all that energy that that person's giving me and stop it, and then respond with greater energy, because the person that has the greater energy or the stronger person wins in that type of martial arts. What will happen in Aikido, and I think if you look at as martial arts philosophy in everyday life, if I take a karate type approach to life, if someone pushes me, I push them back further, or I push them back harder, and now I have a conflict. And it's going to be whoever pushes the hardest is going to win that conflict. So if I get into a situation in everyday life where I have a problem at work and someone is trying to do something and I don't want them to do it, and I push them back to stop them from doing something, you have a conflict. You're always going through life in conflict, and you're always an aggressive type person. And that doesn't really blend with society very well. If you look at Aikido, Aikido teaches you that if I'm going to attack you and I'm uke, or the person that has the technique applied to them, someone is going to attack me and they're going to hit me. I don't block the hit. I pivot out of the way of the hit. I go with the person's energy. If he's going to hit me, throw a punch at me, I don't block the punch. I get offline. The description of Aikido as a gentle, quiet martial arts is kind of misleading. Aikido isn't a martial art that makes you a person that isn't aggressive. There's a certain amount of energy that you have to do in Aikido that you could call it aggressive energy, or you could call it controlling energy. When you learn Aikido, it's a style of martial arts that it takes you from the person that's being pushed to the person that's controlling the pushing. It may be described as a gentle martial arts, but what you do is you end up being in control. It teaches you how to control the situation, how to control the other person. When someone pushes you, you don't push back. To some people, they may look at that as a person that's not aggressive at all. But in reality is, you're not being aggressive, you're being in control of the situation. When someone pushes you in a certain direction, you say, okay, I'll go in that direction, but I'm going to take you with me. And when I take you with me, I'm going to control your movements, and the person that's pushing, next thing realizes he's off balance. So now you have that person off balance, and you're in control. I don't call it aggression, I call it being under control. You're controlling yourself and the other person before the other person realizes that he's now out of control. It's not a true aggressive type martial arts where I'm going to kick you or I'm going to punch you, but it takes a situation where it looks like you're being the underdog, so to speak, and puts you, the person, in control of the situation. If it happens in the right format, in the right style, the techniques are applied, you go from the person being pushed to the person controlling so quickly that the other person doesn't really realize that happens. He's out of balance. Next thing he realizes, you're controlling him with some type of pin or throw. And it's a nice philosophy on life, too. When someone pushes you, you don't have to push back. just control the situation. We're at one of the very first classes that we were doing a technique, and I was working with one of the senior black belt, and the technique involved a grasp and kind of pushing me down to the mat, and I was supposed to land and do a backwards roll and come up. Well, I was kind of new to it. I was landing more like a tree would fall than landing softly, and as I was doing it, the senior was explaining to me what I was doing incorrectly, and every time he would throw me down, it would hurt a little bit less, but it was still, you know, I was still in the learning mode. But this guy was real strong, very, not aggressive, but very forceful in what he was doing, really controlling the situation. And I thought to myself, you know, this guy could be really bad if he wanted to be. And at the end of the class, you know, when you're finished the class, you bow and the instructor walks off the mat. The person that you work with comes running over to you and kneels in front of you and bows to you and says, "Thank you very much for working with you," and sticks his hand out to shake it. Well, the first time that happened to me, I thought, God, there's no gun in it, there's no knife in it. This guy wants to be nice. He wants to shake my hand and thank me for working with him. And I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed so much about Aikido, was the fact that after you work out together on the mat, you shake each other's hand out of thanking the person they're working with them, out of respect for that person, and it really develops a camaraderie of everybody in Aikido. But I think the philosophy in Aikido teaches children to behave more, or to be more respectful, and to not be as aggressive as a different style of martial art would teach them. Maybe, you know, Taekwondo or Karate is more of a aggressive kicking, punching type martial arts, or, you know, Aikido is more of a blending, using the other person's energy against them type of martial art. And there's no competition in Aikido, so the children never learn that you kind of square off against someone and see who's the best fighter. Aikido doesn't compete.
Children who just begin Aikido are much more flexible than adults. They're not as afraid to try things like break falls or techniques, or with they haven't developed the fear as adults have. So they usually catch on much quicker than adults do. The parents enjoy it because when the children come into the dojo, it's a totally different life to them. You must put their shoes straight, neat. Downstairs, they have to hang up their clothing neat. Everything must be folded in their bags neatly. When they come onto the mat, they must show respect and bow when they enter the room and bow when they get on the mat. They work with another student, they must bow to that student, thank them. So the parents enjoy or like that part of Aikido to help teach their children.
Hey, stay, you're gonna shuffle in, palm down, catch the chin. Hey! Cross steps, do not bend that arm that's on the chin. Do not bend it. Cross the fin. Hey!
They hardest thing is probably the discipline.
Shuffle in, palm down, catch your chin. Yeet. Cross step, thrust, knee.
You have to concentrate a lot to learn all the moves.
Hi. You ready? All right. Let's.
If someone pushes me, sometimes they push me light. You'll have to do just a normal break fall. But if they push you harder, that you probably would have to do the break fall number 2.
You know, at first I saw the martial arts movie, Steven Seagal, oh, excellent, bash him, smash him, smash him. And at first, you know, it's get you into the art, I guess, but once you start to practice, you start to learn more about the art, and it's not all smash him, crash him. You know, you can't always be the aggressor.
If someone were to fight you, you can have harmony with them if you know Aikido.
Martial arts for lots of different reasons, many of them quite peaceful. Tonight, students at the Chudokan Dojo on Tecumseh Road learned the ways of Go Shindo Jiu-Jitsu from international master Alain Sailly of France. Go Shindo means the way to protect the body, and Sailly says it is as much for the mind as it is for the body.
What we try to do in Go Shindo first is to control myself, and after maybe I can control the other one.
Can hold just under hand on the top. Left fist touch the left side belt area. Bokken's top about center of the body. Bokken's arm like this about 25 or less. Knee. Left leg step back, right hand moves the thigh, right foot hips down.